So today we're going to take a look at Mech versus Acend, because if you've been following the EMEA scene, then you'll know that Mech essentially had been playing very, very badly for the last couple weeks of the group stage. They scraped into the playoffs, but yesterday after beating Acend, now they're only one game away from actually, making it and qualifying to Copenhagen. So absolutely absurd, and they just decided, what if we decided to play well? And it went pretty well for them making that decision. So let's take a look at it, and we'll start here with them on the defensive side on round number 3. And the first thing we really have to talk about here is Nats on Cypher, because if there's anyone you associate with Cypher, it definitely is Nats. He is absolutely absurd playing this agent, and some of the setups and ideas that they have with Cypher on Bind, which is a pretty weird pick, was really, really funky, and it very much worked for them, as you will see in this match, particularly on the defensive side. So let's take a look at it. And the first thing we really need to talk about is kind of the strategy that Mech went about with their kind of overall defensive side. So Acend were pretty much doing like the common. Actually, this was invented by Gambit, so Mech. This is the Gambit setup in a way. So, they were playing against their own setup, and Acend were using this Viper Wall and the orb that comes in here very, very often. And the one thing that they wanted to do was get Redgar here, who's playing Omen. He basically was trying to disrespect this as much as he can. You can see he's already, pretty pushed up. He's going to put smokes in here very consistently throughout this game, and he was just trying to push past this Viper setup really for the entire half. It was quite interesting. I think that that's the reason actually that they picked Omen over Brim, is because it allowed Redguard to potentially flash down here, from this kind of position to try and fight this a bit more willingly than perhaps a lot of other teams would. The other thing that they were doing is you'll see here they have the camera here in hooker, and we have double trips here towards long. This guy is going to quickly try and get some info towards long, but then he's going to come and play in hooker, as we will see, and they were using the camera as a kind of contact to know when to flash and get kills off it, and we'll see it in this round. Very, very strong. So that was kind of how they were approaching their defensive side. We got this aggressive Omen setup here towards A short. They weren't going to let Acend, use this setup to lurk up deep towards A. They were going to, fight it and be aggressive towards it. And this is actually Mech's bonus here. As you can see, they don't have great guns, and this is going to be a bit of a crazy end to the round. But you'll just see some of the setups and some of the ideas starting to come to fruition on this round that, they shouldn't really be winning, but they're going to do pretty well in terms of that. So we start off with this little drone towards there, but you're going to see that when this Viper setup comes up towards AS, we got a dog outside hooker. Redguard just puts another smoke down there right here, and he's going to fight, right? He's not just going to let you walk up. He's going to start spamming into it, and he's actually going to find the first kill from that right there. Now, whilst that was going on, what we found on the other side of the map was a Skydog down here. CNED put his chamber trap here, and the Sky has just quickly ran out and destroyed that. And so CNED, now knowing that the Sky is the one in here, he feels like he wants to go and take this duel and try and even out the scores. But we'll see this Cypher setup just come in absolutely massive for them. That what's going on is we've obviously got the Cypher cam here. I mean, what a Cypher cam this is, right? Steve CNED obviously has no idea. Nats is able to ping exactly where he is. Defo knows exactly when to flash. He flashes out, and he manages to get the kill. It's just absurdly good, right? The little combination that they had there, and they were basically moving that onto different sides of the map. And we get Chronicle there, obviously only with the Sheriff. He isn't quite able to do it, and so Acend start to come in. They're on a 3v2 right now on the site, so Mech kind of, play it a bit more passively, wait for the rotates to come in, and the spike goes down. Now, also Acend have kind of threatened, that they might be pushing a bit deep because they've put an Omen smoke here, so they're kind of allowing themselves maybe to try and even up the score with that smoke, and try and maybe push a bit deeper to site, or at least threaten that they might have done that. They even sent a Sky Flash out to, see if there was anyone there. Starkso is able to find one kill, and unfortunately this probably wasn't maybe their best moment. Shados is just a bit behind and isn't able to trade the kill, and Starkso is able to get a second as well. So we end up in a 3v2 for Acend, well played by Starkso there. But we do get a kill from Defo, but Vac is able to kill Nats back into heaven. Then Vac goes for this heal on Starkso, and that is actually going to be very important to what is about to happen, as you will see, because what's going to happen is Defo is going to flash around, catch both of them, and manage to kill them. And then Starkso, instead of using, he ran out of bullets because he was just spraying when he was flashed, and instead of changing to his pistol, he just goes for the knife instead, and you'll see that he actually ends up on 18 health. So had he not been healed, Mech would have managed to win that round, but instead we end up with a Stark Zone knife, which was actually the first of 2 knives that he managed to get on Defo. So now let's come to round 7, where we're going to see much of the same thing, and again another great little Cypher setup, and you just don't want to mess with nets, right? And actually most of the rounds that Acend won was basically when they went away from nets. You know, he is known as no access to sight for a reason, but again, you see here we get the same aggressive setup from Redgar right for the first 45 seconds of the round. He's going to keep refilling that smoke, basically tell them like, you're not coming in towards short. This Viper setup isn't going to, you know, get much use out of it at all. He's going to push beyond it and make sure that they don't have an easy path there. We're going to get a trade of Skydogs down towards long, as we see here. And they see the Sky in elbow, but again we've got this Cypher setup here with the camera here, the tripwire there as well, and so Acend are going to start to slowly make this a B push, as we will see the spike is about to come back, and they are eventually going to decide to come to B. Here's where Nat's cam is, up there at the top, and we're going to get CNED eventually trading a couple bullets with Chronicle here, as we will see as Chronicle just kind of jumps around and eventually sees him. And so with the pressure there, they feel like, okay, this is probably going to be a B hit. So let's take a look at what they do, and it's going to be very interesting. So we just got Sky Flash here from Acend. We're going to get a Raise Nade coming in as well, and so they start to feel like this hit is coming in. And so what we're going to see is, as soon again as this Cypher Cam, you know, sees that and they feel that that pressure is coming, in comes this amazing Sky Flash from Defo. Just simply absurdly good flash from Defo. Nats is going to put up his 2 cages as well, so he's got one just in each of the 2 choke points. A cage is going to go up there, a cage is going to go up there, and what that's going to mean is that they can't trade these kills that are about to happen, because they're behind the cages. So you're going to see that flash. I mean, it's absolutely perfect, right? Starkzo is just completely blind, and Zeke is going to try and TP on top of the box here, but as you can see, again, these cages are stopping any trades coming in whatsoever. Chronicle pops the ult as well, and that pops his ult, so they know where these last players are. Great ult, great timing, and that works as well. I will just quickly say, because it's quite funny, Redgar has decided to use his ult to teleport over here, but he's caught perhaps the worst timing of all, because Monster is just coming around here just as that is happening. So that is how Acend are able to get one of these kills. But obviously CNED gets revealed from the Cypher ult being in there, so they all just start shooting him, get that kill, and then they obviously know where Monster is after Redgar's death. So Defo just flashes out and manages to get that last kill as well. And you start to see that really the Cypher and Sky were just so powerful in this game, and it really did win quite a few rounds for Mech. Now let's come to round number 9, and again we're going to see some of the potential setups. This time they don't really work perfectly, but you just see some of the ideas that if they were just a little executed a little better, they would have been really nasty for Acend to deal with. I mean, you'll see what I mean, because Chronicle, he starts you know, feeling the pressure here. He destroys the boom bot. He feels that pressure is coming in, but we're going to get a Sova Dart in here and a Sky Flash from deep, and had this Sky Flash just gone a bit further, then he definitely gets 1 kill, maybe even gets the 2nd kill as well, as you'll see, because this dart does reveal both. In comes that flash, and if this flash had just sneaked around the corner a bit more, Chronicle's probably able to push with it and manage to get those kills, because they get scanned all 3 times by it. Send out the Sky ult. They see that they are you know, coming towards B to start off, but eventually Acend are going to decide to come back instead towards this A site. But that means that they're coming in to the Cypher setup, who this time is not playing with the Sky, as you can see. This time they're playing with the Omen in essence, and you can see again here the Redgar isn't as aggressive as perhaps he was in those other rounds, because this time he can play off the contact of this Cypher Cam, which again is a pretty good counter to this wall, because it can see over the top of this wall and see those people walking down short who perhaps don't expect to be seen. So that is kind of what happens here. As they start to come in, the camera actually gets destroyed, and so Redgar knows to send in this flash here. But then again, really nice idea. He's going to flash down here, and then they're going to get the Sova ult from here, sending it down towards short as well. Obviously, there's quite a narrow path, so the Sova ult, they're hoping to find those kills. It actually doesn't in this instance, as you will see, but a really nice Sova ult there. Unfortunately, there was a well-timed Raise Nade as well to stop Redgar from being able to push himself with that flash, and unfortunately, the Sova ult doesn't quite catch them, as they're able to then push pushing onto the site. They do hit the trap wire. Nats puts down a cage there, as you see. He is able to get one kill there, but unfortunately they are a bit deep. But Shados is able to trade him out. And then we're just going to get Redgar. They never took control of lamps, as you see, so they're able to find that kill and then just start mopping up. It was against a save, but you start to see some of the ideas that Mech had, that even when they aren't fully working, you can still appreciate the kind of different combos they have set up, and everything just seems very well thought out. Now let's come to round number 16, and I think this round pretty much sums up Mech's attack side. It wasn't nearly as drilled or perhaps as, you know, beautiful as some of their defensive setups. It was scrappy, it was a bit messy at times, and this round I think kind of summarizes that. So see, they got the Omen one way down here to stop anyone pushing out there, sending the Sova drone after it. And well, the problem for them is really here is that they're probably always going to run into 3 people, because you've always got this Viper ult here on short, CNED's down here with an op. So as soon as that has kind of been solidified, this raise is always going to be rotating, and they're going to run into the site of 3. Now Redgar here overheats a little, let's say, because he knows that the sky is here because of the Sova drone. He sent in a flash, so you can see that the sky is flashed. So he's decided to try and take the risk of teleporting up there, thinking that maybe this sky was alone. But the kill is going to come from Zeke, who's just like there and obviously can just see him, and he gets a free kill. Not really too sure what Redgar expected to happen here. He clearly was feeling it a bit, but I think that that is part of the thing, that they just seem to be playing with a lot more confidence, because now, even with no smokes, they're still going to manage to make this round work. Whereas before, if you'd been watching them in group stage, if this was the case just a week ago, there's no way they would have won this round. But this time they do manage to make it work. That, you know, with these 4 players, even with no smokes, they managed to, you know, kind of combine the utility, you know, make the right decisions enough to be able to win this round. So in goes a flash, in goes a raise nade to push people off that. In comes Chronicle, really nice flash from Zeke there, playing inside the tube, and in comes the Sova ult at the same time, right? So we got the Sova ult coming down here as you're entering onto the site. You've put a raise nade and a flash down here, so you know they're like comboing utility still pretty well overall. And again, this was just not happening a week ago, and they seem to be playing with just better communication and confidence. And so even though Chronicle was flashed, you know, he's able to just wait it out here long enough as this Sova is coming in to then swing around here and find the first kill. And that's really, really important, because they do find that first kill, and even though he gets traded by Zeke, then the trade comes from Defo as well. And again, these kind of things just weren't happening. They pop the raise ult here, nice Cypher Cage comes out from Nats, so that they know that they're pushing them. We actually get a double TP, one from Shados coming around here, and probably Nats. He doesn't want to also do it right, because then this raise can just send in this ult into the TP, and maybe, you know, even kill both of them. But we actually got a TP from the Viper as well, coming in at the exact same time, which is poorly timed as what we're going to get. Defo finding this Viper, perhaps not quite expecting that would be the case, as you see there. So Stoxo is just about able to get Nats as he's trying to take the TP. Out comes the Sky ult, and they start running back towards A with Shados here. He destroys the trap there, and they're going to get the spike down, as we will see pretty soon. And so we end up in a 2v2, which, considering the situation they were in with no smokes, 5v4, you know, it's pretty good. With the spike down, 2v2, they definitely take this. And what we're going to see is Shados sees CNED, right? They see him, they get the flash out, and they swing with it, and Shados is able to get that kill, and then Stoxo runs into Shados, who's able to mop it up as well for Mech. Not like super clean, not like super amazing ideas here coming in from Mech, but even after the overheat from Redgar, they managed to make it work. And I think that this was a big difference, that just a week ago, as I said, they definitely would have lost this round. And now let's come to round number 18. And for these last 2 rounds, I'm going to show you, I basically wrote down one word in my notes, and that is Nats. Because when Nats plays like he currently is, that is a massive advantage for a team to have, and Mech definitely can make the most of it, or at least Nats can make the most of it, because what we're going to see here is we have CNED pretty pushed up there. They send in the Skydog, which, you know, sends him away, sending the Sova drone. They get early B control, and what we're going to see is we're going to get a raise nade in there. Chronicle, sorry, is going to try and push in with it, and he's basically going to trade himself out with the raise nade as he comes in, because Vec's able to win the gunfight, but then dies to the nade itself. But then this is really, really interesting, right? So what you just saw there was a smoke on top of the box, and Redgar trying to ult onto the top of the box inside the smoke, right? And the ult gets killed, so he has to, you know, come back. But I think that this smoke is going to make a pretty big difference, because as they're applying some pressure towards the site, and you can see that this raid and the chamber are kind of looking away, and they send in a sky flash, Nats is just able to sneak in and hide, right? And they can't see that because of this smoke at all, right? And so he just finds a perfect timing to sneak in, and well, it ends up with this, as you see. And I'm sure what happens here is Starkso at this point sees him on the map, or someone calls out that they could see him on the map, because he just randomly turns and tries to shoot. Nats ults, and then this happens. He just finds that kill as well straight away. The ult pings where they are. In comes the TP, but obviously Redguard knows that, and so he finds the perfect time. They're actually going back towards A, and then we can run this forward as Monster is in this 1v4. But guess what happens as he pushes through this smoke here? Guess who's going to manage to find this last kill? Oh, look. It's Nats. And he was just playing out of his mind, and he finds a really, really good timing there with all the distractions going on of the Omen ult and whatnot, and he manages to win them that round. Now let's come to the final round, round number 20. And again, just Nats, right? So what happens is that you just saw that early shock dot there that's going to come in here. They're going to get this Omen one way in here to try and push them a bit back on towards B, as you will see. And Nats is actually lurking towards A. He's going to put his camera up here towards Shower, and it's going to be destroyed by Monster there, as you see. So they start to bring in some pressure towards this side of the map, and we start with just this gunfight here, straight gunfight that CNET is just able to win, and then TP's out. So they end up very quickly in a 5v4, and we're going to get a big trade of utility here. Obviously you can see we've got a flash here, and we're going to get a big trade kind of utility going on towards this long area. You see the Omen flash comes in, the Raze nade comes out from the other side, and so a big trade there. Whilst that's going on, you've got a Sova drone coming down there. This smoke, I think, was slightly missed by Redguard, because obviously there is a little gap there that Cena could see through. You start to see the boombot, another flash, all starts coming in, right, towards that area. And so Redguard takes the TP, and Defo decides to retreat with a sky flash here to try and get him out of there, right? Whilst that's all gone on, though, Nats has managed to just sneak up a bit towards short, and he's in that area. But after the TP from Redguard, obviously it's a threat that, you know, he could come this way. So a smoke comes out, and Nats just stays in here. Whilst that is going on, they skydog down here to get control of long to Acend, and they see that they've kind of pushed them back. And then Redguard is going to try and make a play again. As you see, he's going to go in for the Omen smoke, and he's going to try and TP into it again as this Omen flash is pushing back Nats. And well, it goes about as well as you might expect. He dies straight away to Monster there as well. So we end up in this situation instead now a 3v5, and the call comes in to go back towards B and try and retake this space. Flash comes in from Defo there. He's expecting a flash back, so that's why he's running up backwards. And a flash eventually does come in. But now we're going to see Nats is coming in towards Hooker. He's going to destroy the chamber trap just here. And now 3v5, right? No duelist, no smoke. So you're thinking like, oh god, this is not going to be easy. But again, they have Nats, and he's just going to go absurd and just win a bunch of duels. They even managed to get the next kill as well. We end up in a 5v2. The TP comes in from this Omen as well. So now Nats knows there's pressure coming in behind, and he obviously has to deal with 3 people here on site as well. So hardly an ideal situation for him, but he's going to manage to find Vac first off, this player here. Then he's going to turn around, as you can see there. He starts to think about, I'll turn around and try and kill Zeke, but CNET starts shooting at him, so he decides, oh, fine, I'll deal with you first. Turns back around, kills CNET. Then obviously Zeke now is getting close, so he decides, well, I'll kill you as well. We end up in a 2v2 from that situation. He ults as well. They start to get the spike down. He's going to hit a 145 headshot on Starkso here as well, and then Shados is going to come off the plant to finish off that kill. So they manage to get this into a 2v1. Nats is going to try and protect the spike. He manages to get Monster down to 11, but Shados is going to manage to be able to win this round for them with that last kill there. And that was just Nats. And yeah, so that was how they won. Their defensive side I thought was really cool, and I think they had some really cool ideas of how to play against Acend. Their attack side was a bit more scrappy, as you see, but they had Nats, and so that is always going to give you a couple rounds for free right there, and they managed to win and make it to 1 game away from Copenhagen, when really they looked absolutely dead amongst the water. I mean, if Big would have just won game, they wouldn't even made it to playoffs. So big comeback from Mech. Whatever they did this past week was very big, but it seems like, again, when their back is against the wall, they just know how to play.